Welcome to viewer subscriber comments. Let's go to the first comment from Lawrence Sanchez. Where would Lebanon be if the Euphrates is there? We first have to recap what we've been speaking about with the Euphrates River to understand this question. Then we'll speak also about the land of Lebanon. To start, we'll read from the Bible, Genesis 15:18. In the same day the Lord made a covenant with Abraham, saying, Unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates. So notice how it says the great river before it says the river Euphrates. So we've been speaking about looking for the Euphrates in West Africa, and we do have a great river in West Africa. So let me show you on this map. It says the Great River. So we do have a great river flowing in West Africa, but we can't connect that with the Euphrates just on that alone. But it's also interesting that researchers have been discovering maps saying Euphrates or Euphrates River in West Africa. Let me show you these maps quickly. This one is a 1742 map of Africa, and we see here Euphrates River, and I think this is the country of Ghana. This is the Volta River. So it's not the same river. So it's different from this river. This is a great river. I don't think you would call this a great river, but it does say Euphrates. And there's another map. This is the 1753 map of Africa. If I just show you where to look in this region here, you'll see Euphrates, and then I'll move across to the right. You'll see also River de la Euphrates. So definitely we could say that there are things to be encouraged about for looking for the Euphrates in West Africa. We also did a video looking for a tributary of the Euphrates called the Kabur River, and we were focusing mainly on the country of Nigeria for the Kabur. But I just have to show you some of the variations so you can understand what we were searching for. So the Kabur, also called the Aborhas, Aburas, Abora, Kaboras. So we found some interesting possibilities searching for Abora. Now I know our methodology is not going to be maybe accepted in terms of the academic world, but we have to use what we have available to us. So using a weather station, they're going to have a large database of places, and we see Abora, Ethiopia, Abora, Ghana. So interesting that we see this name Abora in East Africa and also West Africa. And this Abora, we might see this on this map. If I go back, could it be speaking about this Abora here? Abora. Then we also searched for another variation, Abura, and this one also came up with Ghana, but then also Nigeria and the Benue region. And the Benue is a river in Nigeria. So we were finding some interesting things, but we have to recognize, let's say, the limitations of our searching, because we can't just say that we found this tributary based on these searches. But there was another one that was interesting when we actually searched for Kabur. So we see Kabur, Nigeria, Kabura, Nigeria. So it's difficult because, like I'm repeating myself, but we can't say that we found the Kabur, the tributary, based on those searches. But we do have to use what we have, and we do have some encouraging things in our favor where we're looking for a great river, and we do have a great river. Then we have these other examples where we're actually seeing the name Euphrates or Euphrates in this region. And just interesting that we are finding these names like a border in the region that we are looking for. And another example in Ethiopia. So that could be important. So that introduces the video to understand the question. So the viewer is saying, if you're looking for the Euphrates there, so it says, if the Euphrates is there, what about Lebanon? Where would Lebanon be? And I just thought this question is so relevant to our recent videos where we've been speaking about Arphaxad, son of Shem, and Lebanon. And at the end of one of our recent videos, we were speaking about the challenges and the difficulties facing us with this research. So I thought this question was really relevant to us, and we'll speak further about that. I hope the viewer, Lawrence, will be willing to allow us to answer this in our way. So we need to use our map and our study, what we've done so far. I'd like to go to a different Bible verse, but it's going to be complementary to the verse that we used in the first part. This is from the book of Joshua, chapter 1, verse 4. From the wilderness and this Lebanon, even unto the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites, and unto the great sea, toward the going down of the sun, shall be your coast. So this is a bit of a different perspective now from the other verse, because it says this Lebanon. So is that the perspective that this verse is using, that the Israelites are actually in the territory of Lebanon? And we're going to introduce another one of our viewers, Panacea Solutions, because Panacea Solutions has been sharing a lot of information, and it's made me rethink about this. It's also caused me to realize that I may have missed some things that were right in front of us. So it's going to be very interesting for all the viewers, even those who've been watching for quite a while. So we'll come back to the going down of the sun. That could be important. So what do I mean that we may have missed something? In the book of Jubilees, it speaks about an account that Canaan, son of Ham, seized Palestine wrongfully. And it says that Canaan saw the land of Lebanon. And there's actually quite a bit of detail that it gives us to help us think about or locate the land of Lebanon. And for those that are new to this, the book of Jubilees tells us that all the land of Lebanon came for Arphaxad, son of Shem. So that's what we were saying at the start, how this relates to Arphaxad. So let's read this. It says, and Canaan saw the land of Lebanon to the river of Egypt. So now we see how this could be harmonizing with the Bible, that first example we used from Genesis. So from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates, the land that's been given to Abraham, but ultimately to his descendants, the Israelites are actually going to be the ones that inherit and go into the land. And that's where we are now in the time of Joshua. So these are the descendants of Abraham that are actually going into the Holy Land. But it could be important that we realize the perspective that they actually are in Lebanon, the land of Lebanon. So very interesting, because it also goes on to say that the land is very good. So that's important. We have been reading verses that have been very descriptive to show us how the Holy Land is a very good land. And it went not into the land of his inheritance to the west, that is to the sea. So we learned about this. This is supposed to be towards the Atlantic Ocean. And he dwelt in the land of Lebanon, eastward and westward from the border of Jordan and from the border of the sea. So here's another detail about the land of Lebanon. this direction of eastward and westward from the border of Jordan, but it gives another perspective towards the bottom. So I really didn't realize how much information is in here. It says, "But he did not hearken unto them, and dwelt in the land of Lebanon, from Hamath to the entering of Egypt." So we see again the reference to Egypt, that this land of Lebanon reaches to Egypt, but now we get another detail, Hamath, which is an Aramean kingdom. So I really missed these details. I just focused on this account that Canaan seized Palestine wrongfully and learned about the account, but really overlooked what's in here and how this could help us to locate the land of Lebanon. So now we're going to use these details, and we need to work with our map because we see where we have a ram. This is going to be important. I'd like to start with this perspective first before we go to the one at the top. So this one speaking about the land of Lebanon from Hamath to the entering of Egypt. And Hamath was an Aramean kingdom. So we're thinking about the land of Aram. So that's why I said we need to work with our map and our study. Now there are other channels, other researchers that are working in this field, and it's actually what other researchers have come across that really draws us to this region to consider this for the land of Aram. And one of these examples is a region of Nigeria called Damisak. And this sounds very similar to Damascus, a very famous ancient city, very important for the land of Aram, is Damascus. So is this just a coincidence, a similarity? But that's what really starts to draw us into this region to think about the land of Aram. And then we have been looking and searching for other kingdoms as well. So let's speak about Hamath Zobah. So Hamath Zobah was a place of uncertain location in Aram or ancient Israel. Hamath and Zobah were likely adjoining kingdoms. So these would all be important things that they would need to work where we're looking in order for it to be true. So we have to see what we can find, but it needs to work. Now when we searched for Zobah, we didn't find anything with the spelling with a Z, but we did find interesting locations with an S. So let me just show you the pronunciation, or play for you the pronunciation, so you can see why we searched with an S.
Strong's H 6678. Sova. Sova. Second entry. Sova. Sova.
So we came up with some very interesting results here. Soba, Ghana, Soba, Ivory Coast, Soba, Nigeria. But we also must realize and acknowledge that this word or this name, we can find it throughout the world. So I think at the end of the video, we can speak about difficulty and challenges with this research. So we will speak about that at the end. So one thing that I've learned is we have to be careful with this methodology, because we can't see how significant these results are. We're just seeing a name, but how significant is this place in Ghana, for example? It needs to make sense with the search. So this was a kingdom. So you're looking for something significant for it to make sense with the history. So that's something that we will speak about at the end, where we have to be careful with what we're presenting. So we will speak about that. But it is interesting how we are finding these names in the location that we are looking for the land of Aram. And we also found Hamath. We searched for Hamath. There was a result for the Congo, but it was the result in Nigeria that we were focusing on because of that idea of the way it says that they were adjoining kingdoms. So we're looking for results that can match that. So that's why we have been focusing a lot on Nigeria, because we do seem to be being brought there by the information with Damisak, Nigeria. So that's why we are thinking about Nigeria, and then we look for the other results that could work with that. So this example here. So very interesting for the land of Aram. But now when we think about that, we actually have to use our map, and does it make sense with what the Bible is saying? And then also the book of Jubilees. Some of you watching may be new to this, so let me play for you the pronunciation for this entry for Damascus as well, so you can see or hear the similarity.
Strong's H 1834. Damasek. Damasek.
Just so you can see the similarity in the name, Damisak, for why researchers really have been drawn to this and interested in this. In this part, we're going to be speaking about perspective. Now, our interpretation for the land of Lebanon from Hamath to the entering of Egypt. We can't say that we have located the kingdom of Hamath just based on these searches. But we do want to make an attempt to answer the question. So we're building a theory, so we need to use our map. So the way we're going to phrase this is the land of Lebanon from Aram to the entering of Egypt, so that what we're saying makes sense. So I'm going to alter this map and leave the explaining to the end. We've got a lot of explaining to do at the end of this video, so we will speak about this. So this is now what we're going to be thinking about. Remember, the book of Jubilees says all the land of Lebanon for Arphaxad. So we're using the name Arphaxad to represent the land of Lebanon on our map. And now let's think about perspective and go back to the first part where it says, so again speaking about the land of Lebanon, but it says eastward and westward from the border of Jordan. So we have another detail to think about, but it's the part where it says eastward and westward that we want to focus on in terms of perspective. If we think about the modern land of Lebanon and the state of Israel, and think about that perspective, how would we view that in terms of direction? So it does give us something to consider here when we see the entering of Egypt. If we go to the footnote, it says the extreme south. So that would be the way you have to view this, or view these, I don't know if we can call them verses. Let's call them verses, because if you think about the modern land of Lebanon, and if you're going to reach the river of Egypt, that would be a direction of north to south. That's how you would describe it. But here it's saying eastward and westward. So we are putting forward a theory, and we are hoping or trusting that our map is going to hold up. So now that we've made this change, so we're thinking about Arphaxad, or the land of Lebanon, how would you describe this interpretation? So to me, it does look like you would describe this as being eastward and westward. So that would be important. Now, if we go back to Panacea Solutions, this was also very interesting. I hope I explained this right, so please correct me if I get this wrong. And what I'll do is I'll put the full comments in this video in the comment section. I'll pin it to the top. It was a very long comment, so I just picked out or tried to present the two main points. So let's try explain this. We're going to go back to the Bible verse from the book of Joshua, chapter 1. So if we write to be thinking that the Israelites are actually in the land of Lebanon at this point. So that's the reference point. But now it also describes the river, the great river Euphrates. And it says, well, let's read it again. From the wilderness and this Lebanon, even unto the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites, and unto the great sea toward the going down of the sun, shall be your coast. So if the perspective is Lebanon, and we're thinking about going towards the river Euphrates, but is it to the going down of the sun? So we're thinking the west. So again, we have to think about perspective with the modern day land of Lebanon. If you try and interpret this verse with the maps that we're given, the Euphrates would be to the east, not to the west. And I think this is what the viewer was trying to get at. Are there actually problems with what we've been presented with? I'd like to take stock before we go further, trying to answer this question from the viewer: where would Lebanon be if the Euphrates is there? We don't want to misrepresent. We're actually altering our map during this video, trying to answer the question. We haven't changed what we've been thinking about for the river Euphrates, but rethinking about the land of Lebanon. So we're not pretending that we understand all this and that we knew the answer to this question before we came into this video, but we do have viewers sharing information. So in one of our recent videos, I said, maybe if we don't agree with each other or we don't see eye to eye, can we still actually talk to each other? Should we be willing to talk to each other about the Holy Land, even if we maybe don't have the same beliefs? And Panacea Solutions has been sharing with us, even though the viewer might have a different belief about the Holy Land. So it's these comments that have caused me to rethink, like this example here. Did the Israelites cross the Jordan from west to east? Now on this channel we haven't put forward a theory where we think Jordan or the River Jordan is, so we can't speak about that in this video. But this would be a major, you could say a discovery, because if the Israelites did cross the Jordan from west to east, again that creates a major problem with what we've been presented with. And if it's the truth, then it could help us with our map and trying to understand the real exodus of the Israelites and entering into the promised land. So just to be straightforward with the viewers, that we are saying something a bit different in this video. We have to explain at the end, but we have said in the past that what we're putting on the map is not set in stone. We are willing to be flexible and to change if we come across information that we need to really consider. But if we think about this, so I do want the viewers to give their opinions about this if they would like to. I think the more eyes that we have on these verses, thinking about this now, will be good. So we can get more interpretation or more opinions to get confirmation. So if anybody would like to really go into this comment that I'll put in the video to check, that'll be good as well. But if we just think about this now, how we do have this territory which we could describe as being eastward and westward, And I don't want to say where the Israelites were in terms of this Lebanon, but if we're thinking about the going down of the sun, or to the west, and think about this great river that we are considering, this is going to the west, or the sun going down. So we can see that our map can work, that we could still be on the right track, but it is difficult when you're making changes in the video when you're trying to answer the question. So let me know what you think. It's going to be a lot to take in, but very interesting, and we have to be thankful for the viewers willing to share, even if they maybe have different beliefs. So we're thankful for that. This is an interpretation for the journey of Abraham, the stories of the Israelites with the Exodus, and also the conquest of Canaan by Joshua, summed up in 8 points for this map. If we first speak about point 7 to point 8, the crossing of the Jordan, we see what we presented with is a crossing from east to west. But Panacea Solutions is asking, did the Israelites cross the Jordan from west to east? So that would be a major problem if it's true. So hopefully we do get some volunteers from our viewers who are willing to check this, to analyze the details, so we can confirm and we can really get to the truth of this. We also spoke about the lay of the land. Is the book of Jubilees describing an eastward and a westward direction in terms of this land? So we can see from this map, the lay of the land, if you describe this territory, it will be from north to south. And I think we need to take it at face value that it is describing the land of Lebanon. We see how it repeatedly is describing the land of Lebanon, but from a few different perspectives. Because you could say that it's speaking about this land, eastward and westward. But at face value, we see how it repeatedly involves Egypt. So the land of Lebanon to the river of Egypt, the land of Lebanon from Hamath to the entering of Egypt. And with this map, we would have to describe that as being north to south. But is it really eastward and westward? The other detail was about the river Euphrates. Are we right to interpret this that the Israelites are actually in the land of Lebanon at this point? And then what would that mean for the river Euphrates? Should it be to the east or to the west? So hopefully I got that right. But we know from what we presented with the land of Lebanon, the Euphrates is to the east. And it also makes me wonder about point 7 to point 8, the crossing of the Jordan. Based on that interpretation, if they are in the land of Lebanon, I'm not sure if this map makes sense that way either, because we're not presented that this is the land of Lebanon here at point 7. So a lot to analyze, and definitely thankful to the viewer for sharing with us, and also Lawrence Sanchez for asking the question to challenge us, and that's a good thing if it can help us correct and also to help us get to the truth. We've reached the end of the video. I know we said that we've got a lot of explaining to do, and we repeat times, but I've had a bit of a change of heart. I think we've already been quite apologetic in this video, and we have been trying to explain things in our previous videos. So I've created this playlist. I've got an idea of what I'd like to do. That's why there's no title yet. So we're trying to build to something. But in this video, an in-depth study on the family tree of Arphaxad, son of Shem, we do explain, we give one example to try to show why we had Artfaxad the way we did on the map. So if you are interested, we do have explanations. And at the end of this video, we try to speak about the difficulty, about human weakness and insecurities. And that's why I thought this question was so timely, because just a straightforward question, an honest question, a fair question, how do we react to this? There's many different ways that we could react to this. Are we going to be defensive? Are we going to welcome the challenge? So that's what I was trying to say. So if you do watch this video, the ending of it, then you'll see what I was trying to get at, the difficulties that we can face with this research. But we might have new people watching and joining us. So I don't want to sound negative or not portray that we're not confident with what we're doing or what we're trying to put forward. So that's why I had a bit of a change of heart. It's quite a journey that we've been on together, and you can't really explain these things in just 5-minute segments for the difficulties that we have faced. So that's the reason for that. Thank you for watching this video. It's going to be very interesting to see the response if we do get some help, and maybe we can make a follow-up video depending on the reaction. Thank you to all those that are liking the videos and to those that are sharing comments and trying to help. We definitely are thankful for that. And until the next video, take care, and hopefully we'll see you soon.